Hey guys, before the video starts, if you enjoyed this episode and want to support my channel, consider supporting me on Patreon. Patrons not only get a shout out in my videos, but will also get cool access to patron exclusive content, such as animation updates, alternate endings, sneak peeks, polls that'll determine what future projects will happen, even early access to new episodes of Fan War an entire week before they're released to the public, and of course knowledge regarding episodes long before they enter production. Now that's a deal worth fighting for. The link is down in the description below for those who want to join. But for now, enjoy the show. Urban legends speak of alligators living in the sewers beneath us, hiding in the darkness while we live our lives, only emerging to gain their fill. But what most people don't realize is that most of those urban legends are real. And these two are proof of that. Leatherhead, the literal sewer gator, and Waylon Jones, the killer croc. Now, for this fight, we will be using the 2003 incarnation of Leatherhead and the Killer Croc of the post-crisis continuity. I'm one fish mob, and it's my job to see who would win a fatal conflict. Starting life as a mere exotic pet, Leatherhead was eventually flushed down into the sewers once he wasn't wanted anymore. But instead of living life as a feral animal, he was discovered by the Utrom, an alien race who are currently stuck on Earth who happily chosen to be a part of their studies. One day, he was accidentally exposed to a chemical waste product from their machinery, but instead of killing him, it evolved him. No longer a mere animal, the Utrom saw what he became and took him in as one of their own. Leatherhead was happy and content. But this would not last forever, as an assault on their base forced the Utroms to flee Earth, accidentally leaving Leatherhead behind. Afterwards, he'd spend most of his time hiding in the sewers, being experimented on, or being outright hunted. But when he met a certain group of Ninja Turtles, Leatherhead found a new purpose in life: to help his new family any way he can, and to fight the same evil forces that separated him from his Utrom family. And while Leatherhead is no ninja, he has plenty of other stuff to add to the table. He is a scientist whose intellect rivals both that of Donatello and Baxter Stockman, with similar skills working with both Earth and alien technology, hacking computers, and expertise on biology and genetics. But he doesn't just apply his intelligence to the lab. Leatherhead will use his wit during battle, sneaking and lying in wait for his opponent and using the environment to his advantage. Speaking of environment, because he's an alligator, he is naturally adept at swimming, moving at incredible speeds, able to hold his breath for long periods of time, and can use the water itself for an advantage in battle. But he can't do this without some help. Luckily, he comes pre-equipped with natural weapons. A large tail that can smash through concrete, sharp claws for grabbing, and a powerful jaw capable of biting through flesh, bone, and metal. But he can't use these as effectively as he does without some serious power behind them. He can shrug off most physical attacks and survive a sewer collapsing on him, strong enough to bend and rip metal with his bare hands and smash through brick walls, and is fast enough to keep up with the Ninja Turtles in battle, who are fast enough to dodge lasers and outrun explosions. In his lifetime, Leatherhead has accomplished quite a lot. He rescued the Turtles from a crazed hunter and Bishop's soldiers, stormed Shredder's base with the Turtles, and helped create a cure for various people who were mutated into horrific monsters. Unfortunately for Leatherhead, this does come at a price. He's lived a very traumatic life and most certainly suffers from some form of PTSD. If any memories related to those traumas are triggered, he is prone to suffer a violent breakdown, attacking both friend and foe alike. But in the end, this only does prove Leatherhead is not one so easily trifled with. If you have to choose between facing him off on his own home turf and just sitting down for tea with him, I suggest going for the latter.
I don't know how to thank you.
You don't have to thank us, Leatherhead. Yeah, us mutants gotta stick together. Family and all that.
Yes, family.
Born in a Florida slum, Waylon Jones was an unlucky case. His mother died during his birth. His father abandoned him. He was raised by an aunt who spent more time in prison than with him. And to top it all off, he was born with a skin condition that made him look like, what else? A crocodile. Subject to ridicule by those who knew him, Waylon was pretty much destined to become a criminal. Once he set his eyes on making a name in Gotham, he quickly rose to the top, catching the eyes of both fellow criminals and the local vigilante, Batman. But I guess it's not surprising when you consider what he can do. He used to wrestle alligators for a living, is proficient in hand-to-hand combat to the point where he can fight with Batman and the Venomless Bane, and despite popular belief, he's actually quite intelligent, successfully infiltrating Star Labs and Gotham City Jail. And hey, aside from being treated like a freak, looking like a crocodile does come with some perks. He's an expert swimmer, preferring water over land when fighting. His jaws can lift and throw prey around and bite through bone. His claws can cut through bulletproof suits, and for some reason, he can regenerate lost limbs and heal from fatal wounds like they're only minor. I don't know much about crocodiles, but I'm pretty sure none can heal like Wolverine. Well, in any case, he wouldn't be as dangerous without his crocodilian nature. His sense of smell is a lot more developed than a normal human's. Is strong enough to fight with Solomon Grundy, tear enemies apart and lift and throw vehicles. He is also virtually bulletproof and survived a punch from Supergirl, and is fast enough to blitz Batman with a bad leg. But Killer Croc is more than just a simple man-eater. He's faced off against the SWAT many times, ran a criminal operation, killed metahumans, and even defeated Batman in their first encounter. That is something very few villains can claim to have done. But Killer Croc is far from pristine. Though smart, he typically resorts to brute force to solve most of his problems, and his regeneration does have its limits. The more severe the injury, the longer it takes to fully heal. But hey, this Croc may not be from the Nile, but he'll definitely make you short while.
There I was, holed up in this quarry. When Batman came nosing around, I threw a rock at him. It was a big rock.
Alright, the combatants are set. This battle shall have no prep time, no outside help, or home field advantage. Let the battle begin.
Fight! Fatality.
Looks like there's a new king of the swamp. Regardless, why did Killer Croc win? Both were pretty equal in strength and speed, but it ultimately came down to each character as is. Leatherhead was certainly the more intelligent fighter, was more adept to an environment like the sewer considering what he was already, and had far faster reflexes. However, Killer Croc was ultimately the more durable fighter, having endured far worse, and is undoubtedly the more experienced fighter, having matched opponents who'd be more than a match for Leatherhead. Not to mention, Killer Croc has already accomplished a lot more on his own, while Leatherhead typically works with others to achieve common goals. It also doesn't help Leatherhead that Killer Croc used to wrestle gators for a living. And yes, it's true that Leatherhead isn't the mindless animal Croc has experience with, but excluding the fact Killer Croc has plenty of experience facing off with similar opponents, the only real difference is that he's smarter and walks on 2 legs. Combine that with a healing factor Leatherhead would have to work hard at overclocking, I guess you can say Killer Croc pretty much had this in the alligator handbag. In the end, it looks like Leatherhead just couldn't claw his way out of this one. The winner is Killer Croc. Killer Croc may enjoy the bloody taste of victory now, but his battle is far from over.